Hello, this video is to help you as an authorized representative I-9 administrator for Corteva Agriscience in the process of completing the Section 2 of the Form I-9. With this presentation, I'll walk through several topics, the responsibility you have as an authorized representative I-9 administrator, how to fill out Section 2 for some of the various IDs you can expect to come across, and a few helpful hints around variation in some of the IDs you will encounter. The information I share with you in this video will not be all-encompassing, but should help with a high percentage of what you will see as you receive documents. As always, our staff at the detasseling office will always be available to help you with any questions you might have, so do not hesitate to reach out to us. Keep in mind that all documents that we accept for verification must be valid and unexpired. However, with the COVID-19 exception, any ID that has expired on or after March 1st can be accepted. Currently, the date that is published for this time period to end is May 27th, 2020. Our office staff will keep you informed of any changes to this policy. With that said, let's get into the presentation. So as you get into the season, you're signing up your workers and you're receiving documents, filling out the I-9, you're going to run into various questions that you might have. Some of the common ones that we run into are, why do we have to physically see the original documents? Okay, and I'll get into that deeper in slide number 2, but bottom line, we need to make sure that we eliminate all possibilities of identity fraud. We need to make sure, since we're verifying that that person is eligible to work in the United States, that is who we are dealing with. If you look down over here, one of the questions that will come up is, I know this individual personally, why can't I just accept a photocopy of their IDs? Again, we're attesting that we saw the originals, we're attesting that the documents they provided are relevant to who they are, and we want to make sure that we see the original documents. Another question might be, the license is only expired by a couple of days. I can accept it, right? No, on the day that they present that ID to you, it needs to be valid and unexpired. Again, with the exception of the COVID-19 that we mentioned previously, otherwise they need to be unexpired. Wouldn't it be easier if I just tell them what to bring so they have the right documents? We cannot tell an individual what documents to present. There is a list of allowable documents which are in the paperwork packets, or acceptable documents, and the employee is able to choose from that list as to what to provide. The only thing we can control is the identity document must be a photo ID, since we're an E-Verify employer. Another question might be, the only photo ID they have is a school ID, and it's from a previous school year. So for example, current school year is 2019-2020. Okay, if the document was from that, it'd be valid. However, if they only present to you a photo ID from school year 2018-2019, then that one needs to be considered expired. And lastly, the person filled out Section 1 as a permanent resident. So this person is a permanent resident, but presented me with a driver's license and a social security card. Is that okay? The answer to that is yes. That is fine. Okay? They've attested to their citizenship status. They've provided their alien number on Section 1 as they should have. They have the option of presenting their driver's license and their social security card. That's perfectly and completely okay. So as we look at the Section 2, just as from a high level, okay, and we talked about why do we have to see their original documents. If you look at the section right here, circled in red, and I blew it up here for your visibility, but that says right there, certification. I attest under penalty of perjury that I have examined the documents presented by the above named employee. The above listed documents appear to be genuine and relate to the employee named, and to the best of my knowledge, the employee is authorized to work in the United States. So right there is a very valid reason. You are attesting under penalty of perjury that you looked at the original documents and they seem to be real. Okay? So that's a big key right there. So let's get into some of the documents. First ones we'll look at are List A documents. List A documents are ones that provide identity and employment authorization information or validation. Okay. In this case, we're looking at a passport. Individual's name is Happy Traveler. So you're going to pull this information from the other side of the I-9 Section 1. Last name, first name, middle initial, and then their citizenship status that they fill in. Then you're going to go to the identification piece, or the ID, and start recording the information from the ID. First is going to be a U.S. passport. The issuing authority is the U.S. Department of State. Then you're going to use the document number, which you'll find in the upper right-hand corner on the passports. And then you're going to write the expiration date. Now, the I-9 requires a month, day, year format, as you'll see here. The passport lists it in a different format, so make sure you write it correctly. In this case, the expiration date is 08/07/2016. Okay. Once you've done it, you're going to come down here. You're going to leave employee's first day of employment blank. And then you're going to give the person the information. This is the information of the I-9 administrator. Okay. So Jody Tassler is going to sign here, date it. His title is crew leader. Then down here, he's going to print his last name, print his first name, and then our information is in there as far as address. So that's all you have to do for the I-9 once you've accepted that and validated that that ID is valid. Next List A document you may have come across is a United States passport card. Okay, very similar to the passport. Again, you're going to go with their name. Again, last name, first name, middle initial, citizenship status, which you'll find on the first side on Section 1. Then you're going to list out U.S. passport card. Okay. Again, issuing authority, still U.S. Department of State. Find the document number, upper right-hand side. If it's a U.S. passport card, it will have a C in front. Put that document number there, an expiration date, and then move on down to where your personal information is. Again, skip employee's first day of employment, fill out, the I-9 administrator is going to fill out their information right there. Third common List A document that you'll run across is the United States permanent resident card. We touched on this briefly in the earlier question section. In this case, they presented the permanent resident card as their document. Again, you're going to fill out their information up here, their citizenship status, which in this case it's 3 for a permanent resident. Then you're going to come to the document title, which is U.S. Permanent Resident Card. Issuing authority is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And then you're going to have the document number. Document number for the permanent resident card will be found on the back side of the card. You'll find it over here, always 3 letters followed by 10 digits. Okay? Not necessarily always going to be LIN, but it will be 3 numbers followed by 10 digits. So we put that in here, LIN 0000000204, just as it shows on the card. Then the expiration date, which you'll find right over here. Now, there's 2 numbers on these cards you have to be aware of. On the front of the card is a USCIS number or an alien number or A number. Okay? That is what they ask for on the front section, on Section 1, that the employee fills out. When they put in their A number, it is the 9-digit number that's on the front of the card. Just a reminder, when you do Section 2, it is the document number or the card number found on the back. Once you're done with that, you'll come down, leave the first day of employment blank. I-9 administrator, fill out your information. Okay, we're going to move to List B and C documents. Okay, so we've covered the 3 most common List A documents that you'll run into. Now we'll get into a variety of the List B and C. In this case, you can see it's a driver's license. Again, you're going to put the individual's information up here. Citizenship status is 1. And then you're going to just start taking the information from the documents to fill it out. In this case, it's a driver license. Just write out driver license. The issuing authority will be the state that issued the driver's license. It's going to be that way in all the states. So then find the document number and the expiration date. The information will be in different places depending on the state and depending on the year the license was issued. You just have to make sure you really look at the document closely and get that information transferred correctly. The other document, the List C document that this individual provided, was a Social Security card. So you're going to come over here and spell out Social Security card. Social Security Administration is the issuing authority. The issuing authority on a Social Security card will be found in the round part of that logo where you see Social Security Administration. We'll get into it later, but there's two other issuing authorities that may show up with your Social Security cards. Once you've entered that one, document number, which is the Social Security number, and then expiration date, you can just put an NA in that blank. Down here, leave that blank for the first day of employment. I-9 administrator or authorized I-9 administrator, go ahead and put your information in there. The other state issued ID you may run across is identification card. Okay, it's a non-driving identification card. You're just going to come over here, same information up top for the individual. Document title is photo ID card, issuing authority, in this case is state of Mississippi. Document number and expiration date. Now in this case, he provided a birth certificate. So we're going to write over here, birth certificate, issuing authority is the state of Iowa. Document number, which you'll find in the bottom right hand corner, in this case is 5 zeros. Expiration date is NA. And then follow the same process down below. Okay, a lot of young individuals detassel. One of the only IDs they might have, if they don't have their driver's permit yet, is going to be their school IDs. This is a good example of a school ID. In this case, all you're going to write in is school ID. Issuing authority is the school, so it might, in this case, it's Deerfield Middle School. Document number, you'll find student ID 772468. You'll write that in, and then expiration date. I would just use the school year. In this case, it's 2018-2019 school year. Okay. He provided a Social Security card. Again, write in Social Security card, Social Security Administration. Document number NA for the expiration date. Couple notes on the school IDs. They may not have a document number, so you don't have to worry about entering one if there isn't one. If they do not have one, put NA in that spot and go from there. Sometimes the document number might be on the back side. You just have to kind of take a good look at it and provide all the information you can so that what you state over here is relevant to that ID. Once you fill all that out, again, come down here, leave the first day of employment blank, and authorized I-9 administrator, go ahead and enter your information. Another one you might run across is a card put out by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. A company called Life Touch provides them. They're called Smile Safe cards. Okay? A lot of kids got these through the schools. In this case, individual's name up here, List B document is called a Smile Safe card. Issuing authority is Life Touch. They're the company that puts it out. And the document number, you'll see a couple document numbers over there. In this case, we use the first one, LN603155H012. You could actually use either one of those numbers and be fine as long as what you have here matches that ID. Expiration date, it may just show, in this case, valid until 12/2020. It may show just a year. Whatever that provides you as an expiration date, put it on that line. At that point, don't worry about that format because you don't have that available for you. Social Security card was provided again. So in this case, I was showing you the abbreviations you can use. In this case, it's a Social Security card, so you can put SSC. The issuing authority is the Social Security Administration, so you can use SSA. And then you go back, document numbers, just the Social Security number, and expiration is NA, and follow the same process down at the bottom. So that's really the bulk of the IDs that you'll probably run into and likely to see. I just wanted to reach out a little further into the Social Security cards and the birth certificates, just so you have some helpful hints in dealing with those. Social Security cards, as I mentioned, may have a number of issuing authorities. There are 3. And if you look up here in this box, the issuing authority is the Social Security Administration, Department of Health and Human Services, or Department of Health and Education and Welfare. Okay? That again will be represented in that round part of the logo. Okay, whatever that issuing authority is, it will be there. Now some of them are older cards, so they're very hard to read, but you should be able to still make that out. When you write those in as issuing authority, you can write it out just as it states it, or you can abbreviate those. Obviously, Social Security Administration would be SSA. Department of Health and Human Services would be DHHS. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare is DHEW. Okay, so those are the different issuing authorities you'll run into. Social Security cards that you cannot accept. There are some out there that you cannot accept. This is just a couple examples what you'll see. If you look at the two bottom ones, the third one is very similar to the bottom left. But if you see a Social Security card that says valid for work only with DHS authorization, you cannot accept that as a List C document for the I-9. In the same token, the one on the bottom right, same thing, not valid for employment. Okay, you can't use that as a List C. And finally, birth certificates. Birth certificates will look different all the time. You'll have all kinds of shapes and sizes. You may have, like the left side here, which is an 8x10 piece of paper. You may have these cards that are about 4x4 or 4x5. They're very small. The key is to notice whether or not it's a copy or if it's a certified copy with the raised seal. It has to look official and it has to be the original. So you'll have to determine that as you view them. There's a definite difference between a photocopy and a real birth certificate. In any case, your issuing authority will always be on there, the state of issue or the country of issue, whatever you run into. But in this case, the state of Iowa is on all three of these. These are basically the same document. This one just has the tab attached. Some people don't detach those, and that's fine. Okay, the key is to make sure that you can determine the state or the issuing authority and then the document number. In this case, you'll see a document number down there. On the left side, you'll see the document number in the bottom left-hand corner. You may have a bottom left-hand corner and then another in the upper right. You're just going to have to pick. If there's multiple document numbers on there, just pick one of them and make sure you write that in as a document number. As long as it correlates with the ID and what you entered on the I-9, that will be fine. Okay. Just know that you'll see a lot of different versions of birth certificates. The key is to determine that it's a real birth certificate, and you'll use your best judgment on that based on your experience as you get looking at different ones. That brings us to the end of the presentation. We went through a lot of documents fairly quickly. I just wanted to give you an exposure that would help you fill out the Section 2 as it's a new process for you guys. You know, and those who help you, make sure they get a chance to see this video. We've provided you assistance, help packets, and everything else to try and make this a little easier for you, and I hope this video gives you some guidance. If you have any questions outside of this video, if you run across something you're just not sure, make sure you reach out to our detasseling office staff or our Rogan office staff, and we'll be glad to help you guys through and navigate this process in the year 2020. I want to thank you for your attention. Thank you for helping us with this process and being a crew leader for our detasseling and roguing processes here. And we look forward to working with you again this season. And thank you and good luck.